Welcome to episode 8, where a major faux pas has taken place. Not with the project. I swore I was shooting video when I ran the router through the jig onto the workpiece for at least for one segment of it. So I could have that to show you. I didn't. Apparently, maybe the audio was on, but I didn't hit the record button on the camera. And there's a big red button on the light on the screen that says, hey, you're recording. Well, so I zoned on that. Anyhow, I got them all successfully cut. And now I'm going to assemble them initially, and then we'll peg them. So without further ado, let's go on with a description of how to assemble these things in a relatively easy manner and a problem that I'm going to have to fix. Now it's time for the real finicky bits, and that's installing the louvers. You can see I've already started here. I've got a little more than half of this panel done. What I've done is I've clamped down the stile, installed the rails on this side, installed this rail just enough to allow me some wiggle room. What I mean by that is these were meant in the original to be inlet to 1/4 of an inch in either side, and those were done by machine. What I've done here is these are the same length, but the mortises are 5/16. So I've got some wiggle room here where I can stick a louver into the door. Sometimes it's a little finicky as well. Into the shutter, and just move it back and forth, and now that's sitting in the mortise. It's stable. When I'm finished with these, then I take my clamps and clamp it all up tight so they won't come out anymore, and then it sits off to the side waiting for the pegs. I had to order some dowels that I didn't have in stock for pegging these, little hindsight is 20/20. So that's basically where I'm at right now. I'll finish all these up, and then I'll show you the finished product, of course, in the next segment. Music of the day, Vivaldi's Four Seasons. So there it is, 1 down, 3 to go. So this is ready for pegging to draw it all together real tight. And then I got to go down to the house and do the hinge mortises. Get the hinge mortises in the right place because I didn't get the story stick. But here, this is what you got going on here. Louvers. Now, let me show you something. This is interesting. One of the stiles, hope you can see it in camera, took a bit of a warp. And that's not going to make life anything easy. And so it looks like I'm going to have to build a rudimentary steam box and steam this to it's straighter. I mean, it's dry wood. Usually you steam green wood, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to build a simple thing out of PVC pipe, a hot plate, and a tea kettle, and see if I can get this steamed, and then I'll have a jig made to pull it tight. If I get that, pull it straight. If I get that done successfully, then I'll move on. Now I'll do the remaining ones that I can do, of course, and then build a steam box for this. Now to draw peg the pieces together. The correct term is draw boring. Draw pegging, draw boring. Same thing. Drawing the pieces together with asymmetric holes between the mortise and tenons. So what I've done is I've cut the pegs to the right length, to a good length. I've beveled the entry point so it goes in a little bit easier because these are really tight as it is. Because you buy these dowels and they say 3/8. No, it's a little bit more, but that's okay. I like that. because it's outdoors, even though it's going to be painted and sealed outdoors, I'm going to use some Type Bond 3 waterproof glue, just a little dab on each one as I hammer it in place. I will be using the Warrington hammer and possibly the leather mallet to drive these home. All I have to do is drive into, so they just poke through the other side and stop, let the glue dry, and then cut off the bitter ends. From that point on, I think it's all downhill from there. So let's get started pegging these things. You can see in this picture what I'm talking about when I'm saying asymmetric holes. The hole in the tenon is a little bit towards the shoulder inside the mortise. And you can see that little bit of wood inside this hole that is protruding into the peg hole. And when I drive the peg through, that piece of wood is going to push outward and pull the two pieces together. Going to use the trusty Warrington hammer again. Just put a little bit of Type Bond on here. That's a little bit too much. Yep. Wipe it off my finger and give it a couple of taps to get it started. And it's through the other side. And this is drawn up super duper tight. And that's all there is to it. Once these are drawn up tight, they're never coming apart. I read an article in Fine Woodworking years ago about a gentleman who had to take apart a colonial piece that was draw pegged, and he figured there'd be high glue in there as well. Well, he drilled out all the pegs and the piece just came apart. There was no glue in the part at all, in the piece at all. It was just all pegged together. So that's the step I will now continue on and peg all four of these. All assembled, pegged. Got to trim off the pegs, of course, and then start the cleanup prepare them for paint so that Sarah can paint them. One other thing I have to do is the imitation louver bars, when you move the louvers up and down. They have to go on each shutter because they're going to be facing the wall, not like they're open, and those louver bars would have been inside. So when you open the shutters up, you can see them from the outside. So I got to put those on here because these are the louvers going up, so I got to put those on there. I'm going to make them removable so it'll be easier for Sarah to paint this, but all four are ready for the finished work and then on to Sarah's. I think she's coming back with a good set of story sticks so I can get the Hinge Mortises in place. Let's hope. Slight change in plan. So what we did was the rods, the faux movement rods or louver rods have been glued down with Type Bond 3 waterproof glue. Belt and suspenders, I'm going to screw them on through the louvers from the back, which will be up against the house, with some 5/8 flathead stainless steel screws acquired from one of my favorite hardware suppliers on the planet, McMaster-Carr. But 99% of you already know about McMaster-Carr. If you don't, go there. If they haven't got it, you don't need it, basically. That's what they used to say in their catalog. So the bungs are all, or the pugs are all sanded and flush, and I've added a little bit of filler where there were some imperfections. Let me bring the camera in close and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Pegs, cut off, flush, sanded smooth, and a little bit of filler in here to clean up the little imperfections I created. So this filler is an all-weather indoor-outdoor wood filler restorer product from Bondo. Yes, that Bondo company, the company that makes body filler for cars. And the fundamental chemistry is the same. So what you find out is that when you use this in your shop, yeah, your shop's going to smell like a body shop. So the rod, as you can see, are in place with glue. Now I'll proceed to screw them from the back with the stainless steel screws. Handheld camera again, so you can see what I did here. There's two stainless steel 5/8 screws in each one. That, along with the Type Bond 3, will hold these nice in place. I don't think the glue will ever come out because it's waterproof. Next will be the hinge mortises, which is going to happen soon. And after that, Sarah gets to take these home, do all the sanding, do all the painting, and mount them on her house. Sarah's back.
Hey-o.
So we're going to cut the hinge mortises now. We've left out steps on camera of setting everything up and doing all the marking because that's kind of boring and dull. I made a jig for cutting the hinge mortises into each one. We've marked them rights and lefts, and we know where it's going to get a cut. Then Sarah's going to take them home, test mount them, and get all frustrated because we didn't do it right. Oh, I'm kidding.
And
So
do
what
lots of sanding and lots of painting.
got my new trim router. I did order a bigger plate for this because this is kind of wimpy. Got a battery-powered trim router and my jig. So now I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the hinge mortises. Well, they're all done. All 8 of the hinge mortises are in place. Now, Sarah takes these home and gets the thankless task of checking the fit, making adjustments in the hinge mortises if necessary, sanding, priming, and painting, and then mounting them on the house.
It's COVID. What else do I have to do?
Winter project. Anyway, this ends the series, Sarah's new shutters. We'll do an epilogue at some point of them on the house or something. Sarah has she can take video if she wants with her phone. So until next time, make great things out of wood.